On the first day, I hired a car and toured around the north shore of Hawaii. I went to many of the well-known beaches such as Sunset Beach, Banzai Pipeline, etc., and everywhere there were people surfing. However, it did vary a great deal. In some beaches there was lots of surf and lots of beach surfers, but on other beaches it was relatively quiet. On some days, the surf can reach 30 or 40 feet high if the conditions are right. However, a few miles down the road, the sea might be quite quiet and people would be playing volleyball and generally just lounging around and enjoying a quiet summer's day. Most of the expert surfers seem to be locals rather than tourists. Many of the beaches are backed by quite exclusive residential areas, where every house has a pickup and many of them front straight onto the seaside. This is the little silver convertible that I hired, a Chrysler Siberian, and this is the scenery that you see driving along the north and east coast of the island. As you can see, beach on one side, surfers surfing away, and on the other side, mountains with the rainforest and lots of low-rise American houses, each one with the regulation pickup out the front. This is a very picturesque spot on the east of the island known as Kainohe Bay. As you can see, there is a lot of yachting activity and the surf is relatively flat. Further down the beach there are some well-known areas such as Kailua and Lanakai, which are used for general holiday activities and again very exclusive residential resorts behind. I'm driving up to a well-known lookout where there is a blowhole formed by a cave where the sea crashes into the cave and then spouts high into the air when the conditions are right. Very windy and very wavy compared to the calm scenes you saw earlier. This is the famous Diamond Head break just along from Waikiki Beach. Even on a relatively mild day, it has some fairly impressive surf, and the locals are equally impressive. This is of course Waikiki Beach itself. As you can see, lots of high-rise hotels behind it and a relatively small beach compared to what you might expect. Mainly tourists and some of the locals displaying their prowess on some fairly long surfboards. You can hire these on the beach if you really want to. Every style of surfing is catered for. And there are parrots too. I stayed just down the road from the airport at Kihei, and this is the beach just down from the homestay where I stayed. As you can see, picture postcard, perfect, and you really didn't want to move once you were sitting there. This is the house where I stayed. Okay, so this is your average American residential area around Maui. As you can see, lots of palm trees. The regulation pickup or SUV everywhere. Boats, big houses, plenty of space, verandas. Every type of style of house you can imagine, rather than the regulation standard things which we get in England. Everything's different. Again, lots of pickups, plenty of wide streets, lots of greenery, people just chilling out, not doing anything particular. They seem to like their speed bumps, which is why they like having these monster trucks with huge, that's just massive. You can't get the scale, but it makes that about the size of a small house in Norwich. Just got told off by the guy who was filming the truck, driving the truck. He said, "You're filming me?" I said, "Yeah, I just like your truck." He didn't seem to mind. I think they're a bit worried about privacy. There's another monster truck. Loads of big houses. American flag. I like that. Not much traffic either. And the ocean. At the bottom of the road. This is Lahaina, where most tourists head for as soon as they've arrived. It's an old whaling town situated on the western coast, but it still has some authentic western feel to it. Although most of the shopping is fairly touristy, there are some unusual things like this Chinese museum. Most of the historic buildings haven't changed at all since they were first built. Most of the wealth comes from whaling, obviously not popular now. You can take any number of boat trips, and I chose to take a trip on this yacht for a couple of hours, hoping to see some whales.
Until we had as much shrimp as we could. But like when you're crabbing and stuff, you got to bring those crab back alive. We're at like 6 in the morning and just say, hey, just give me a shot, you know. And all I want to do is I'll bait and I'll cook, because I can cook pretty good. And so that's where I got most of my jobs doing. So I would just cook.
As you will see in a moment, we did indeed catch a glimpse of a couple of whales. The first time this season.
Really good, and sleep when they were awake and work when they were asleep. That was just some pretty rough wood.
Oh, little hump there. There's a hump. Right there. Another one. There's a second. There it is. Oh, that means it's going down though.
Maui is the spiritual home of windsurfing. Just by chance, there was one of the international sailing competitions that week, and I met the many times world champion Robbie Nash just by chance. Many of the top windsurfers in the world were there that week. This week was the wave sailing competitions for the International Male and Female Awards, and future days would deal with racing and freestyle.
On deck we have team number 6. It's going to be Scott McKercher, Ezzy,
Given the right conditions, waves can reach 30 or 40 feet, and windsurfers jumping off the top can reach a further 40 feet above that.
Number 5, that's Tabule, Martinez, Traversa, and Bacinus.
Kite surfing is also very popular here.
All right, that's the start of heat number 5.
Glenn is out. Taka is out.
It's very exciting to go to Korea because I've never been there. And I don't think we've ever had a Korea event there. You know, it's always good to go to some new locations. I hope it's going to be really good for windsurfing. You know, we get the luck with the wind as well when we go there.
Okay, it's Sunday and this is my last day, so I'm driving up to a crater at the top of the island. The island is volcanic, of course, and this drive is 36 miles long, a long winding road through countryside that looks something like the Peak District more than anything else, all the way up to the volcanic crater at the top of the island. Now, believe it or not, some people cycle up this all the way, and they must be absolutely mad. But you can hire a bike and cycle down, and that's altogether a better idea. We're now at an altitude of about 4,500 feet, which is the same as living on the top of Ben Nevis, and my ears are starting to pop because we're that high. People actually live up here, as you can see. They do walking and hiking and all sorts. You can see the spectacular view over the whole of Maui. There you go, Halakila National Park crater. Incredibly windy roads with hundreds and hundreds of hairpins, mad cyclists cycling up and down. We're now getting up to the cloud line. As you can see, ears popping happily, and we're going to go into the clouds probably, and then hopefully go out among the above the top of the clouds. We're now about 2 miles from the summit, about 9,000 feet, and as you can see, it's very barren, and we're actually above the clouds. Okay, this is it. We're going for the summit. There's an observatory up here, as you can see, quite a famous one. Great for seeing stars, of course, because the atmosphere is quite thin here and you can get burnt very easy. The air temperature's dropped to 61, whereas it was 90. Elevation 10,000 feet. We're at the top.
Europeans thought 2,000 years ago. That's what they thought, right? Now 2,000 years ago,
And there you have the crater. It's like the surface of the moon. In fact, that's what the moon's made of. Just volcanic rock. And you can walk all the way down there if you really want to. Don't forget that there was an earthquake on Hawaii a few weeks ago, so it is an entirely volcanic area. In the distance you can see the big island of Hawaii 50 miles away. Many people coming up to hike down to the crater are often surprised to find just how cold it is there, and there can be problems if they don't bring appropriate clothing and water.